mean by leadership? Because it says up there, leadership beyond advocacy. You know, advocacy is something that I think doctors like. You know, helping us, protecting us from change, or making sure we get well paid for what we do. We like that kind of leader, you know, kind of the representative. But I think we need to expand that. And not into the till of the hun, but what is a new definition of leadership that can actually, when it's clear in our heads and in the people that we're leading, the doctors we're leading heads, will really put us in a position where we can really help them, help the organization, to really fulfill all the wonderful things that Larry was talking about today. So it's kind of, what is a leader? And what are leaders who have authority and responsibility? And also, what's the role of every doctor in the department to be a leader? Because it's a pretty provocative thing to say, but Heifetz says, everybody's a leader. There's two kinds. It just depends. Leaders with authority. That word authority, I'm sure, is making you uncomfortable, so figure out what that's all about. Leadership with authority. And then acts of leadership. You don't have to have a leadership certificate or a title to be a leader when leaders take acts of leadership. And so part of this is, I'm talking here about leadership as it relates to people with authority. But there's also really the role of making sure that everybody does acknowledge that they are leaders. That's the first thing. What do we do? And how do we get others to engage with us and understand that if we're successful as leaders, it will make them more successful? There is no us and them. It's us. And you have had the courage to take on this particular role. But they have to partner with you, and in what ways? The second area we're going to talk about is, I hate to use the V word, because not that. Shared vision. What's the picture? What are we all trying to do together? If some of us see what we're trying to do, if the shared vision among some is, the shared vision is let's get out of here at 5 o'clock. And for others, it's all the stuff that Larry was talking about this morning, to be like this kind of influencer across the house and the kind of the nidus that really ignites all this wonderful change across the hospital. It's great, but if it's not shared, it's your vision, or it's a few people's vision. So what is the shared vision? How do you get people to share a vision? And then if you do, how do you use it once you got it? And then this last thing that we're going to talk about is, if you have a sense of who's leading and what their responsibilities are, and you have a sense of where we're going together, then what do we expect of each other? What do the doctors expect of leaders? And then what do the leaders expect of the doctors in order to us fulfill this? Because if we're not clear on what the expectations are, and what we're carrying with us is some old set of expectations based on when we graduated or what our first job was, and particularly when we have younger doctors and older doctors, there's a lot of conflict. And sometimes we'll talk about people not being committed. Well, I'm committed, it's just not to the list you're committed to. So let's let ourselves clear. And I'm not talking contractually, but I'm talking about in the sense of what's our work here at the hospital beyond seeing patients, what do we need to expect of each other? And then the final thing we'll talk about is this notion of influencing.